Hi everyone, it's Steve Whiting here at StreetText. We're the home of making you look like a marketing pro without needing an extensive marketing background, because really we also know that leveraging the right 20% of Facebook will result in 80% of your business. And the remaining 80% of Facebook you can really get bogged down in, and it's only going to drive an additional 20% or 20% at most. So one of the big questions we get asked a lot is, how many leads can I expect? And I just want to share that with you because I'm sure a lot of you have seen in different Facebook groups, hey, I'm paying $2 a lead. You know, I'm getting $2 leads all day long. Lots of people are marketing or promoting things like that, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, I'm not getting $2 a lead. Or if I run a campaign with a company or even myself, and I'm getting $10 leads, $20 leads, are they doing something on Facebook that I'm not doing, that I don't understand? What's happening? And so I just want to debunk this and just kind of talk about this a little bit, just so it really makes sense. The first thing to think about is Facebook is it's a marketplace. It's a little bit like an auction. It runs a bit different, but in essence, if you've got San Diego, take San Diego for example, are leads worth more in some of the luxury markets in San Diego than say a rural area of Wisconsin? And absolutely they are, right? The home prices are much more. The commission on those homes is much more. So really, from a lead perspective, you shouldn't be looking at what you're paying per lead. You should be looking at what's the competitiveness of that market? What am I paying per lead, and does that fit into does that make business sense for me? Am I getting a return on investment on that? And then I can buy leads in that market all day long. And the last thing you should be doing is comparing your lead per cost for somebody that's in a rural part of US or in a completely different market, because really you should not be comparing apples to apples like that. That doesn't correlate. So the amount you pay per lead really is dependent on where you're targeting, and also the offer that you're running in that market. So we're big on a 7-day test. I mean, our entire company is based around that. I think we're pretty unique in that. And really, if you were to come to us and you wanted to work with us, we would test a zip code or an area or even a larger area specifically for you. And then over that 7 days, you're going to see how well your market's going to perform. And sometimes just by moving to a different zip code or a neighboring market, or in Canada, a different postal code, you're going to get better results. It's really about testing and finding a market that makes business sense for you, and then continue to run campaigns in that marketplace. You don't need to run extensive 3 months, 6 months, 1 year of campaigns trying to improve it. Really, you're going to see in those first 7 days, or even less, how well your campaigns are performing in that marketplace. So how many leads can you expect really varies on obviously the budget that you're putting out and the area that you're targeting. So we encourage testing. Don't just stay stuck in one particular zip code and you start seeing like, I just can't seem to afford these leads. I'm going to give up on something. No, Facebook, just move over. Try another area. Try another neighborhood. You might be surprised. Broaden your targeting, and I've got different videos on that I can talk about with some strategies about how you can get better results with just your targeting alone. But in essence, the leads that you can expect completely varies. It's really hard when you take a look at the noise out there because you're trying to compare yourself to other people. You really need to know this. What's the average commission in your marketplace? What's your conversion rate on your leads over a period of time? In this case, we'll say a year. And what percentage of commission are you really willing to pay per lead? And that ultimately gives you your value per lead. Now I'm going to work on a bit of an extreme example. Obviously, realtors probably want to beat this, but I just want to break this down really simply. So let's say your average commission is $5,000 in your marketplace, and you know safely, and you should be, if you're using a program that is automatically starting conversations with leads, you have drip emailing built in, you're emailing those leads on your own, you're staying close, you're adding value, you're a value-based real estate agent, you're going to easily convert 5% of your leads. The only reason you're going to convert less than that is if you're just relying on those miracle people that just say, hey, I want to buy or sell today, and you're like, okay, great, I'm going to completely ignore 98% of my database and do nothing with them. You might have a lower conversion rate. But for all the agents that have a few systems in place, they stay close to the leads, they add value, 5% is an easy number for you to hit. And actually a lot of our real estate agents do much better than 5%, but it really comes down to how close you're staying with your leads. And let's just say now in this particular case, you're willing to spend up to 25%. Like, think about a referral. Like, you're willing to pay 25% to a referral to have a closing. Let's say you're willing to spend 25% out of that $5,000. You could essentially afford to then spend $1,250 for every closing in your lead gen campaign. Now, I would say that for most of you, you should probably be working closer to 20% or 50% or even less if you can. But ideally, this sort of gives you a benchmark, right? You're like, okay, I don't want to be over 25%. What's the maximum I could afford to pay per lead in my market if I'm converting 5% over the course of a year, and I know I'm going to get on average $5,000? Well, in this particular case, you could actually afford to pay $62.50 a lead. Now, do you see that changes things a little bit? Like, if you can beat that number, like, that's fantastic. If you're getting $10 leads, $5 leads, $20 leads, you're well within your range, just provided you've got good conversion, you've got a good ROI with the programs that you're running. But that's easy math. That's honestly easy. And I would say that the majority of realtors that we work with hadn't quite thought that through. When we help them figure that out, this just makes sense to them. They get the ROI, and they build their database up, and they have clients for life that they can then contact at any given point. So I hope you found this useful. Don't look out there and just see people posting things like $5 leads or $2 leads. You need to test your own areas, see how they perform, and you need to do your math so that you are confident and know what it is that you can actually afford to spend per lead. And if those numbers don't align, or you then leave that program. Those numbers have to make sense for you, otherwise it's just going to work against you. So I think this is really, really key. Hope you found this valuable. If you'd like to stay in touch with some of the other videos we're bringing out, click subscribe below. And hope you found this useful. Thanks so much. Bye.